It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
Hey, oh man, JB's doing you wrong right off the bat. Look at this.
I had to get my lick back.
Turnabout is fair play. See what happens
terrible.
when Parker is controlling the handles over there.
I know.
Hey, let's go. Wednesday show. August 16th. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network. WoodwardSports.com. Fox2Detroit.com if you're watching live. Braylon out today. Going to join us in the 3 o'clock hour, I believe. He is at New York Jets Alumni Day at their training camp. Tom Mazaway, sad once again, not here today. The Maz chair is very empty and sad. Sad chair.
Got to get that shot.
Right. On the big desk today, the great, the one, the only, Sean Baligan. Shawnee, baby, how you doing, my friend?
I love working with you guys because here's the difference. Like, I was in a few days ago, and Lindsay Hunter and I were sitting in. Nobody delivered me my water with lemon.
Telling you.
I can get used to being spoiled like this, man.
Sit with me a little bit. We've got Lydia over there at Birmingham Roast. She knows all the orders and everything like that. Sean, the lemon in the water, you're treated like a king here, Lady James.
It's awesome. Speaking, Ryan, you and I were talking about this, and I'm sorry, I got to bring it up.
Please.
How great was the weather yesterday?
Oh.
It was like first week of October weather, and all I was thinking about was college football.
I wore my lounge sweatpants.
Yeah.
Little half quarter
Let it
zip,
hang,
little
baby.
quarter
Let it
zip.
hang.
Let them breathe. Let it breathe. Let your skin breathe a little bit.
It's so funny because, like, for me, we're 10 days away from week 0, and I know everybody around here gets fired up about when Michigan starts, Michigan State starts, Wayne State starts. I'm just happy college football's back in 10 days. That's the good news. The bad news is the last 10 days seem like 10 months. I hate it. It just drags. I cannot wait to turn on my television and watch college football again. I just can't. As the
If you
years
can
have
find
gone
it
by,
these days, Sean,
Well, yeah,
if you
that's
can
true,
find
too.
it. Do you have all the different streaming
we do.
platforms?
We actually do. Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah.
I actually, and I said I wasn't going to do it, but I don't know how you don't do it. I just bought Peacock.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to. Michigan's first game is on Peacock. Had to buy it.
Yeah, and it's not that difficult to figure out, which app is which and how to navigate them and everything. This is like our generation's answer to like the remote control and electronic alarm clocks. I mean, when I was a kid, sorry, Mom, my mom could not figure out the electronic alarm clock. I was like, Mom, you press 2 buttons. Can you set it for me before I go to bed? Okay, Mom, seriously, the whole teach a man to fish thing. Yeah, she couldn't figure it out. So you know what I did? I made my kids like literally give me a tutorial. And like, okay, with this one, you press this button and then you put this in, and I know it all. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just happy, as I said, I'm going to be able to watch some college football in 10 days, man.
Notre Dame and Navy, and then San Jose State and USC. I mean, it's just going to feel great to be watching the helmets, right?
Yep.
And the Navy, Navy always gives Notre Dame a pretty good game.
It'll be fun, and listen, I get that there's a different vibe. If you're a Michigan fan, Michigan fan,
I got a lot of good stuff for you today, Sean.
I can't imagine. Well, I can imagine what you're going through because it wasn't that long ago as a Spartan fan. But yeah, you know what? I don't blame you for thinking the sky's the limit. Again, do I think the SEC's on another level? I do, and I think they've shown it. Obviously for a long time now. But if you're a Michigan fan, with what you had last year, what you have returning now, you have an offensive line that's going to the NFL. Like, not a part, not a couple parts. You have an offensive line that's literally going to the NFL. You have arguably 2 of the best running backs in your backfield. You have the defense that you have. sky's the limit. Good for you.
That's really what has set the talent apart from, the SEC, any school that's won in the SEC, whether it be Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Auburn, when they were the amount of players that those specific teams sent in any given year, not collectively over 4 years, but in 1 year, how many players they sent to the NFL was just on a different level. You might send like 2 or 3 guys. They're sending 8, 9, 10, 12 guys.
And that's why, you know what, the one thing that I always hear people say, and it drives me out of my mind, when you're a machine like Georgia, when you're a machine like Alabama, heck, you could say to a lesser extent Ohio State, with an exception I'll get to in a second. Well, they're losing their quarterback. They're losing this. They're losing that. I'm like, are you new to this? Good programs like that, especially when you've been building for so many years, as Michigan has, next man up. They're gonna be rock solid. I remember, Ryan, I was talking with Lindsay about this the other day. 2013, Michigan State's Big Ten championship team was one of the most dominant Big Ten champions we'll ever see. Beat everybody by double digits. And it got flat out slapadelic going into the 2014 season. And do you remember the things that people were saying? Well, Ohio State had to replace their quarterback. Their defense was iffy as it was. Well, we all remember what happened the next season. Ohio State won the national championship, man. And so that to me, that's when you know you're firing on all cylinders, is you can lose a graduating class like Michigan did and still come back, and nobody's going to bat an eyelid if you say, well, I think they're going to the national championship game. Like, honestly, you are lying to yourself if you don't at least entertain that thought that Michigan's in that position now based on the last couple of years. So, yeah, I think, there's some excitement, especially after the last couple of days up at East Lansing. It's different in Ann Arbor. We all have to admit it.
I do feel like, Sean, though, this, for Michigan fans, as you get ready to start the 2023 season, it's a year in which you have seemingly everything going your way. It feels like, if not now, then never.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, though. If you can't win the national championship, with probably 15 guys are going to be in the National Football League next year, they got about 15 of them that'll go to the NFL. If you can't win a year in which you've got Ohio State at home, Ohio State's got a freshman or a rookie quarterback, first year quarterback, Georgia, Alabama. All of these things feel like it's just laid up for you. Now, I know you got to go out there and play the games and win the games, and they just retool over there in Alabama. It's like the quarterbacks falling off trees in Georgia and Alabama and everywhere in Ohio State. But it feels like everything you said, it's almost like the Lions to win the NFC North. It almost feels like that if you can't win the NFC North this year, then you're never going to win the NFC North. And I just kind of feel like that with the Detroit, or with Michigan too. If you can't and don't win the national championship this year, beating Ohio State, Big Ten championship, playoff, that's your max. We're going to learn this year whether that's actually the max of a Big Ten team or not.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right there. Look, Georgia's going for something historic this year. I mean, when you're talking about a three-peat in college football, as great as Nick Saban is, okay, and honestly, I'm one of those people, I don't think the guy gets enough credit. I really don't. The fact that he's been able to do it, so many times at a couple different places, he never won 3 in a row. This is something. I mean, take a look. It was funny. I forget which of the publications had a thing up talking about teams going for three-peat, and there have been some close but no cigar situations. This is a historic year potentially for Georgia, and I think that's what they're looking at and saying to themselves, look, we can put ourselves on a different plane than other programs have been. With that being said, yeah, if I'm a Michigan fan right now, I'm kind of feeling the same way. We got a shot. We got a shot. Even knowing, I don't think I have to argue this anymore. The SEC has been better for a long time, and I think we all used to, no, but they've been on a different level. Boy, if you wanted to shut them up, maybe this is the team that can shut them up.
No doubt about it. Dude, I got to ask you, by the way.
All right.
How in the world? So Braylon got out of here yesterday to go catch his flight. I did like 20 minutes pseudo by myself, a whole 20 minutes pseudo by myself with JB and Parker. And how did you do a 4-hour radio show by yourself? And not only that, but it was like number one too.
How
did you do that?
How does
that happen?
That was a crazy time. It really was. We were jokingly calling it AK4, anything to kill 4 hours, if you remember. I mean, it was. You know what? It was. I still think. If you remember, this is when 1270 turned into 97.1, and they became the powerhouse that they are today. And everything. I still think the genre was relatively new for the average person. And back then, people were more apt to call in. If you remember, people would call in and go, Baligan, you're an idiot. Ermanni, you're an idiot, and things like that. So it kind of helped. You were able to use, I don't know, the callers almost as co-hosts, if that makes sense. I just don't think people are apt to do that now. With so many options out there, like Woodward Sports, like the different podcasts and everything, I don't think that people make shows appointment listening anymore. Whereas back then it was like, I got to turn on the radio at 8 o'clock, or I got to turn on Stoney and Wojo, or I have to do. So I think the genre has changed and the business has changed. I mean, I don't know about you, Ryan. The shows that I like to listen to, if I want to see a segment with you and Edwards and Maz, you know what? I can just pull it up anytime I want now. And so it's different in that regard. It is. Business has changed so much in that regard. I miss it. It was fun. It was more new. It was new for all of us as well. And I know you were a part of it. You did a couple different radio shows, but sometimes I think to myself, I had no idea what I was doing back then. I still don't know if I know what I'm doing. Ryan, honestly, I did the solo show by myself, a 3-hour show for 4 years, and then that was about a year and a half. We did 4 hours, and it was hell. I'm not gonna. It was hell. Man. You just honestly, it really was.
I couldn't even imagine. Kudos to you,
all
man.
my buddies at SoFi. Yeah, okay, man. Go ahead, do your radio show. Anybody can do it, right? Anybody. You got good luck with that. You go ahead and do it.
Did it once, couldn't do it again. I did it in college.
You did, Parker?
Yeah, I had a college radio show just all about the Lions in 2 hours, all by myself. I could never do it again.
Yeah, it's...
Dude, I could barely do 20 minutes now these days. I need to bounce something off of. We had Colin in the studio, Colin Coward, and he even bounces stuff off. Dan Patrick, he's got the Danettes. You have to have somebody to bounce off of. It's so hard to do by yourself. How you did it for 4 hours is unheard of. Hey, speaking of things that change, I do want to ask you about college football as a whole when we come back. With so many changes, so many moving parts, so many conference realignment, TV deals, what channel are they on, who's playing where, has it taken any love whatsoever out of the game for you? Going to ask you that next. We'll get into what happened out there with the Detroit Lions as well. Jim Harbaugh on the Michigan Wolverines. Lots to get to on a Wednesday, plus Braylon in the 3 o'clock hour. We'll do that next, but first a message from Big Boy.
Yes, because Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. Try the classic breakfast items like the strawberry hotcakes or the mouth-watering red velvet waffles. But if you're not feeling breakfast, try the strawberry bacon chicken wrap or cool off with their refreshing summer splash salad. And don't leave without grabbing some dessert, because they have the very delicious classic strawberry pie, the deep fried vanilla Oreos, or the strawberry hot fudge cakes, and so much more at your local Big Boy.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit. You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media. How would you like to win win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice. One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Subscribe to our. Do we have a little dispo action? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't want to step on dispo.
Experience the true meaning of exceptional cannabis products with Dispo Dispensary. Indulge in the finest selection of cannabis curated with care. With over 12 locations, including the new one that is now open in Whitmore Lake.
Oh, it's open now?
Yes, it is open now.
Oh,
You got to go
man.
check that out. It is open now. Whitmore Lake. Dispo is never far away. All locations will be having a end of summer bash on Friday, September 1st, all day long. They'll have vendors, food trucks, music, killer deals, and epic giveaways. Only at Dispo Dispensaries, your local cannabis plug.
Way to go, JB. Woodward Sports on a Wednesday. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Coming up on 50,000 subscribers to this YouTube channel. Incredible to think of when little old Woodward Sports started. 3 years ago? 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
2.5 years ago. I think it'll be 3 years in I don't know. Or maybe it's been 3 years, something like
I
that.
started with Joy.
Yeah.
That was December.
That was the only show, right?
That was December. Well, they had a morning show, I think a week before us.
That was like Stick Joey and somebody else.
And, yeah, the girl.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I'm sorry.
It was
Chrissy!
only...
Shout out to Chrissy.
Shout out to Chrissy.
Yeah, and Adam was with them. So yeah, Ryan, that was December of 20. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be 3 years in December.
Sean, you're a college football lover.
Love it.
I am too. What do you think of all the changes? The conference realignment, the Big Ten having 18 teams from anywhere from New York to Los Angeles. And all these different teams. Does it eat away at your love for the game at all?
Zero. Both things can be true. I miss certain things. I miss certain traditions. You and I say this all the time. Do you know what was one of those can't miss college football games for years for me? Nebraska and Oklahoma.
Yes.
It was. And didn't it always
the Friday after Thanksgiving,
yes,
right?
It was always the Friday after Thanksgiving. And you know what? When that went away, I was sad, but I still loved college football. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma State in recent years. That's another one. It's like, I'm going to miss it, but college football is going to be okay. In terms of traditions, Ryan, there are certain traditions I'm going to miss. And we grew up, and it's funny because when you talk to younger fans now, they don't have the feeling for the Rose Bowl that guys like you and I do.
No doubt.
They don't like...
The Rose Bowl's a crap hole to them.
It's just a game.
Right.
And to me, it was like, okay, I had a chance to go on 87. My dad wouldn't let me. So when Michigan State won in 2013, there was no way I was missing that game. Mm-hmm. No way, no how. And they're not going to grow up like that. They're not going to grow up like that knowing that was, the father of modern-day Michigan football, Bo Schembechler. It was about the Rose Bowl. Win the Big Ten, get to the Rose Bowl. And so that's something special, but the game goes on, and it you have to change with the times. You have to change with the money and follow the money. And I'm glad that they've dropped all pretenses that it's about the student athlete.
Right.
It never has been.
It
never will be again. I have so many. I would always laugh as somebody, and I know you did D2 broadcasts as well. So are you telling me that the D1 athlete is more important than the D2 athlete who has to navigate a playoff? They have a wonderful playoff system. Fantastic for the D2 football fans out there. D2 football has a wonderful playoff system. But we couldn't do that in D1 because that was putting too much on the student athlete.
Right.
I mean, so there were so many hypocritical things going on. So, long-winded answer to your question, no, I think college football is going to a better place. I really do. How about you?
You know, I don't like all the different networks.
Yeah, well,
It's not, like I hate.
I'll see you there.
I hate the streaming services. Like for Michigan to be on Peacock, and you know the night games kill it for like that stuff. I hate the night game. I hate with the night Michigan State for that to be on at night. Obviously, I'm going to watch, but like I hate the night game, and I hate that Michigan plays on Peacock. Other than that, it's fine.
It's little stuff like that. It's taking us out of our comfort zone.
Yes.
What
yes.
we've become.
I don't like getting changed. I don't like changing a couch. Okay. I don't like replacing a couch. It's hard for me to change with the times a little bit. But I understand if you don't, you get left behind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if the Big Ten isn't going to change, the Big Ten is going to turn into the Pac-12. It's going to be a conference where everybody wants to leave it instead of joining it. But they are adapting. I understand that. And again, as one of the guys mentioned in the chat, it's gone now, but I did see it. Look, when Michigan and Penn State are playing, both unbeaten perhaps, in November, nobody's going to care what channel it's on.
Amen.
Nobody's going to care about anything. It's noon on Fox, by the way. That's a noon game on Fox. It's good. It's going to be great. I just want this thing to start. I just want college football season to start because I do believe this is, again, one of the most anticipated seasons in Michigan football modern history, certainly since 1997.
I will echo that.
And even back then in 97, by the way, Lloyd Carr was about to get fired that year. Nobody, not one person, came into that 97 season thinking that they were going to win the national championship. Not one.
And do you know what the difference is, Ryan? And I do not mean this as a shot, so please don't take it as one to you or to any Michigan fan out there. It's real. This is real. Because I think non-Michigan fans have heard multiple times, whether it be 2010 when Rich Rod got his guys, or 2012 when Brady Hoke coming off that fantastic first year, and it was a darn good season. You know, you wait, we're gonna teach Alabama a lesson and all that stuff. This is not hope. This is based and drenched in reality. All one has to do is watch Michigan play the last couple years. They've been at a different level than pretty much everybody. Sure, there was the loss to State, but what they did to Ohio State, they didn't just beat Ohio State, okay? They pounded Ohio State. So I think that's the difference right now. Michigan fans, and fans for anybody, you're always going to be excited and maybe put your team on a level that they don't quite deserve to be at. I don't think that there's a human being out there that can chastise you, Ryan, and say, Ryan, you're doing it again about Michigan. No, this is real. It's legit. Now, do they do it? That's a different question. But I couldn't blame one human being for having sky-high expectations about this team.
And then you hear Jim Harbaugh, talking about training camp. You know, Jim Harbaugh says that this is the most efficient, well-run training camps that he has ever been a part of any team. He said these guys have come in and just completely learned the system. They know the system. It is they've hit the ground running. And when you hear stuff like that, too, you do feel it's almost like the Lions, like everything about this training camp, and we'll get into that in a little bit. The fact that like Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, and Ben Johnson have all been there for this is their third year all together now. It does feel like you don't have to come in and learn anything. You know everything. When you know everything, you can play faster. You don't have to think, you react. And I think for Michigan, you know what Jim Harbaugh is saying, that these guys have come in and they do know what we want. They do know the offense. They do know the defense. They're as athletic as any Michigan football team they've had since Jim Harbaugh has been here. And they embrace those expectations. And I think because of the way the last 2 years have gone with Ohio State, those off seasons are a lot easier to prepare for. When you know that you have completely dominated your rival and pretty much, for lack of a better way to say it, they've embarrassed their rival especially in the second half of these games, you feel like you got a little bit of a walk to you. You got a little bit of a pump your chest out. And I think this is as exciting a time to be a Michigan football fan as any over the last 30-plus years.
Can I throw one question at you and all Michigan football fans? This is a question that I have, and I'm being honest and sincere. Is J.J. McCarthy capable of bumping up, not a level, I'm talking about 2 levels.
Yes.
Because if you're talking about going and winning the national championship, I think, and I don't know if you agree, and you guys out there, I think what you need to see him do is go like this. Now, again, I'm going to give you an example, and here we go, old guys. We're going to talk about guys when we were younger. Do you remember Charlie Ward at Florida State?
Absolutely.
Charlie Ward was a guy
Heisman Trophy winner.
that went on to play for the Knicks, okay, for you kids out there. You know him as a basketball player. Charlie Ward was a guy, all I heard about Charlie Ward is look out for this kid at Florida State. And I remember seeing him his junior year, and I was like, he's all right. He's all right. I don't get the hype. He's all right. And then all of a sudden, his senior year, as you said, he was next level. He was best player in college football. Won the Heisman, led Florida State to a national championship. So obviously, you usually see a progression in quarterbacks. That's my biggest question. If a Michigan fan is saying we're going to go beat Georgia, well, that's a lot easier said than done. We all know that. My biggest question would be, are we going to see a next level for J.J. McCarthy? Not just be a good quarterback. I'm talking about being the guy that can thrust a dagger in you in that big game. I think that would be the big question. And I'm not ruling it out. Don't sit there, you're dogging J.J. McCarthy. Let's talk like adults. He's been a good quarterback, but in my humble opinion, to win a national champion, you need that guy to go like that. And say what you want about Stetson, okay? Stetson wasn't a guy that people, Stetson Bennett's the best quarterback. Man, when the moment arrived, Stetson made some plays. And I think that's what I'd like to see out of JJ, if that makes sense.
I'm going to answer that next. And I'm going to tell you why I think this year is different and why he can take those 2 jumps up a level. We'll do that next, but first a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts and have been for over 90 years. When you see this black and yellow sign out in front of your house, it tells the bad guys one thing: stay out. Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 professional monitoring. Technology backed by people means you are backed by the best. Call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY OUT. Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
You're a good coach, Tim. Oh, great shot.
Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports, and some, well, not so much.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, shit. Go in.
Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
The Academy Warren has a brand new state-of-the-art sports dome field house that has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, and soccer field, which can also be used for 7-on-7 football. K through 8 that features AM and PM latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, Houghton Mifflin curriculum, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, academic games, and K through 8 athletics. Don't forget, Ermanni and Edwards will be broadcasting from their carnival on August 24th. Come meet the staff and explore your child's new school. The Academy of Warren is now accepting new enrollments, so why not go to academyofwarren.net, that website again, academyofwarren.net.
Welcome back, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com. If you're watching live, maybe you're listening on Spotify. However you're doing it, we appreciate you. Sean Baligan in for Braylon Edwards today. Maz is out as well. Braylon sending us some pictures from the Jets Alumni Day. We're going to try to get Braylon in the 3 o'clock hour, if not right at 3 o'clock. We'll see if we can track him down. He's having some fun there at Jets Alumni Day in training camp. Sean Baligan, you asked me for Michigan to win the national championship, and I want to make sure I get the question right.
Yes.
J.J. McCarthy is going to have to not only jump up one level, but 2 levels of play. Can he get there?
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, and the answer is yes, he can. When this is all said and done, Sean Baligan, to me, I think that J.J. McCarthy is going to have the greatest single season in the history of Michigan football at the quarterback position. I think J.J. McCarthy is a better athlete than anybody that has ever played quarterback at Michigan, who's got all the tools, not just the runner, not just the thrower, but he's got them both. This is the greatest quarterback, to me, in the history of Michigan football. And it's not even close what he can do on the field with his arm, with his legs. I think the problem is we haven't had to see it. Jim Harbaugh, Sharon Moore, the offensive staff have not put J.J. McCarthy in a situation that utilizes all his talents. And I think if they don't do that this year, if they don't just let him go wild, I think that will hurt Michigan's recruiting when it comes to quarterbacks, when it comes to wide receivers. If you're a wide receiver, why in the hell would you want to go to Michigan?
I'm with you there. You're
if you're
absolutely
a
right.
quarterback, why in the hell would you want to go to Michigan right now? Because, look, I'm not going to complain about winning. I'm not one of those guys that says we do too much winning. I'm tired of winning. I'm not tired of winning, but I am a little tired of the way they win a little bit. I would like to see it be more exciting. The offensive line, they're going to have 5 guys in the NFL next year. They're going to have 2, maybe first-round running backs. Why would you air it out when you've got this? It's like you've got this Rolls Royce. Why are you playing the Jaguar? You know what I mean? Why are you playing the Cadillac? You know what I mean?
I do, and I think, I look back to the TCU game in particular, where they got themselves in a position where they had to air it out. And as sometimes young quarterbacks are apt to do, he looked good at times, and then he did not look good at times. See the pick sixes. But to me, that's the biggest thing. I would need to do it. I would need to see before I got on the Michigan can win a national championship thing. I would need to see that because again, and I don't want one human being out there to think I'm not dogging the guy. Okay, he's a good quarterback. But boy, when you talk about going to have to knock out, and by the way, I think people are getting carried away with this a little bit this year. There's going to be 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams there. I think people are getting a little carried away with that because I think, number one, I think there are a couple ACC teams. Let's use Florida State as an example.
State.
If Florida State knocks off LSU, that first game, I love that game. Sunday night, the night before Labor Day.
Unbelievable.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
I know where I'll be.
Sign me up.
If Florida State wins that game, an already pretty hype train just goes next level.
They have to win that game.
And if they do, I mean, seriously, think about it. And then you follow that up.
Can I just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
That's one of the greatest things about college football. If Florida State loses to LSU, their season's over.
It might. When you're talking out of the ACC,
right,
it might.
Because, and that's the college football that I kind of miss, right? When the one game, their first game, can end your season. Now, if LSU loses, their season is not over. Right, because you can go on and win the SEC championship, and you're going. They could probably lose 2 games and still get to the playoff.
And you get my point. I'm not sure that we can sit back here this year and say we're getting 2 Big Ten teams in, or we're getting 2 SEC teams. Both conferences might only get in one. Because, I use Florida State as an example. And let's say Clemson keeps winning and knocks off Florida State. Well, then all of a sudden, the Dabo's going to go back up like that. Also, look at the pack. That Washington team is pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying? USC. Both those teams have the hype. If they keep winning, and then when they meet each other, the one knocks off the other, well, then all of a sudden you might be sitting there going, okay, we might have to take an unbeaten USC, or might have to take a Clemson or anything.
USC is going to be the team that falls this year, I think.
They always do.
Yeah.
USC, Texas, set your watch to it. It's almost like they always have to not live up to expectations. I think in recent years you throw A&M in there as well. So, what if it's Michael Penix in Washington? So I'm not sure that there's going to be the 2 teams like so many. I mean, Ryan, I'm old guys like you and I mean, the kids, they don't buy magazines.
Right.
You guys don't go out and buy magazines. When I'm getting my Geritol at CVS, there's Lindy's. I'm going to buy a copy of Lindy's. My friend Phil Steele, I'm going to buy his magazine. You guys are looking at all the shit crap online and everything. I go buy the magazine. Both these magazines have, again, the expected college football playoff, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, and obviously Georgia. And it's like, I'm not so sure that's going to be the case this year. I'm not.
Speaking of magazines, I don't remember where I saw this, but it was one of those publications, like on social media, one of the bold predictions from somebody, and I wish I saw it. It was so ridiculous, but now that you're talking about 2 Big Ten teams and 2 SEC teams, the bold prediction that this individual had was 3 Big Ten teams.
Stop it.
In the college football playoff.
Stop it.
And the scenario was Penn State beats Ohio State, Michigan beats Penn State, and Ohio State beats Michigan. And you have 3 one-loss teams in the Big Ten in a round robin. 3 teams in the top 7 of the country right now. Like, who do you choose?
I feel really good in saying this, and I have felt this way for many years.
Good
okay?
bold take, though, as far as bold predictions go.
You know what? To me, when you bring up Penn State, you are not telling the full story unless you include Coach Franklin will single-handedly lose a game during the course of the season.
At least one.
If you follow college football at all, he will single-handedly lose at least one game. So that leaves maybe Ohio State or Michigan, or even a game, God forbid, down at Ford Field. I have never seen a guy make as many boneheaded decisions down the stretch as that guy does every year. And I give him credit. It wasn't easy to take over Penn State in lieu of everything that happened there, a decade ago. And he's obviously done a good job of recruiting guys there. You are not paying attention unless you acknowledge this guy has outcoached himself every year at least once. Every year. So pardon me if I don't get in on the Penn State Nittany Lion chatter.
I don't think Penn State to me is almost like a situation I just have to see it to believe it.
Yep.
I absolutely have to see it to believe it.
Yep, no doubt about it.
I want to play this soundbite for you. Jim Harbaugh talking about enthusiasm unknown to mankind. There's going to be a new decal out there, a new decal. Listen to this.
It's to the point where, and I had to make a poster person for who I thought was the most, who really defined enthusiasm unknown to mankind. And I looked at every player, every coach, even considered myself, and by the power vested in me, the new as the head coach, the poster person for enthusiasm unknown to mankind. for the 2023 year is Chris Jenkins. And I made a nice little sticker, EUTM. It's now on the helmet, and he's not the only one who has it. We've given some others out, Blake Corum, J.J. McCarthy, Zach Marshall, even gave one to a freshman, and a few others got that initial award. But yeah, poster person is Chris Jenkins.
So when you see the Michigan helmets this year and you look and you say, what is that sticker, EUTM? Enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Chris Jenkins, defensive lineman for the University of Michigan Wolverines. I mean, I love this. Anybody that doesn't like Michigan probably hates this.
I don't, I'm a Spartan fan. You know that. No, it's good for them. I think it adds to the experience. I don't get bogged down about stuff like that. I think it's pretty cool. Listen, you know my problem with Michigan, and I have no problem saying this to you now. And people will maybe accept this message better than they did 10 years ago because you've been winning. I had a problem for many years of Michigan telling people what they were going to do every year. Every year, this is the year. It's coming together for Rich Rod. It's coming together for Hoke, whatever the case may be.
Rich Rod could have won it.
When you do it, that's different. You're just being an idiot if you can't acknowledge it. You're being that which you detest if you can't acknowledge it. Because, yeah, as Spartan fans, did we get pissed off when people said, oh, isn't it cute you did it when the Big Ten was down? Ohio State won a national championship. What the hell are you talking about? So, that was the kind of stuff that you heard. And like I said, you're being an idiot if you can't acknowledge Michigan is at another level right now. So to the victors go the spoils. When you're winning, guess what? You can do it. You can do it.
When you look at that AP Top 25, if you had to pick 4 teams right now in your way too early college football playoff scenario, which 4 are you choosing? Do you have 4 right now that you're like, this is it. This is.
You know what? If I had to choose right now, I think the Big Ten gets the shaft out of getting 2 teams in.
Fair.
I'll say Alabama, Georgia, obviously Michigan, and you know what? Flip a coin between Florida State and Clemson.
So Florida State, to you, is that team this year? You think Florida State is going to be around for a while? So, I mean, they've got...
It could be done that first Sunday.
But I mean, look, if you look at their schedule, they've got 2 games on it. They've got LSU at home.
Yep.
Under the lights. And then they go to Clemson.
Yep.
That's it. And that's within the first 6 weeks of the season.
Can you imagine the hype train? I mean, number one, if they beat LSU, because LSU is a lot of people's cutesy pick this year. BK's got the guys. Now he's got the system in. So there are a lot of people out there that are being cute about LSU. Could you imagine the hype train with the Seminoles and Florida State is back and all that stuff? If they knock off, that was such a cool. Do you remember that in '91?
It's just the best.
It's that Terrell Buckley.
So intimidating.
Oh, unbelievable. But that hype train will be off the hook. But like I said earlier, what if Washington, let's play a game of pretend.
Michael Penix Jr.
He's phenomenal. What if Washington goes on a run and demolishes everybody in the Pac-10, including the usually overrated USC?
Exactly. I don't know how USC will stop Washington.
That defense last year? Do you remember the? Jeez, Pete.
I mean,
awful.
I mean, they don't really play anybody either. They play USC, Utah.
I think
Oregon.
I think the Big Ten's going to get shafted this year. I don't think that they're going to get 2. I really don't.
Very good. Hey, I want to get some NFL stuff. A couple of things happened on the field for the Lions and Jags today. Their joint practices. We'll get you that coming up. But first, a message from 5 Iron Golf.
Play, practice, and party at 5 Iron Golf, located inside of the Cambria Hotel. Downtown's newest sports bar has 13, and I said 13, TrackMan Simulator certified instructors and a full bar and restaurant. Mention promo code Woodward at checkout for 50% off your first visit, and Visit 5irongolf.com to tee up good times. Woodward Sports is also participating in a Thursday night golf league on the simulators with fans. This league is hosted by 5 Iron Golf and co-presented by Mark White and Associates and Long Drink Alcoholic Beverage. Join us this Thursday as all shows will be broadcasting from 5 Iron Golf. That is 5irongolf.com, 5irongolf.com.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. So register today at OutdoorEquipCo.com, and even you could have DMAC on your landscaping crew.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports Network. Sean Baligan in for Braylon today. Braylon going to join us in hour number 2. I believe if the timing works out where he can get to us. He is at New York Jets Alumni Day. Braylon had some great years where he made 2 AFC championship games for those AFC, the Jets. JB Parker with us. Maz out once again. He'll be back tomorrow. Shawnee B, I want to talk to you about the Lions. And something happened out at camp today that I think leaves a lot of people like, oh, come on. Dave Burkett tweeted out from the Detroit Free Press, bad day for Lions wide receivers so far. Amon-Ra St. Brown hurt his lower leg on the first play of 7-on-7s. He was currently working with trainers. He did get back out there. But Jameson Williams pulled up, grabbing his right hamstring. Jameson Williams out with a hamstring right now. The severity unclear. We just don't know. But it's enough to bother him and keep him out of practice. Sean, I am trying my best to give Jameson Williams the benefit of the doubt each and every way possible. But it just always feels like something. Now, he's running a go route, pulls up, hammy. It happens. I get it. Poor kid's out there working hard. But my goodness, it just feels like every time we talk about Jameson Williams, it's something not great.
It's terrifying. I'm not going to lie, and you don't have to take my word for it. I think, you have 2 schools of thought, Ryan. There are the people, and I talked about this the other day with Lindsey Hunter. You are a moron if you're calling him a bust right now. You are. You might eventually be right. You might be, okay? But right now, when you're that young, you're that talented, it's way too premature to do something like that. And the flip side to that is the guy that tries to excuse everything away. And I already saw, I was perusing Twitter before we started the show, and, some of the pseudo doctors on Twitter. It's amazing how many doctors there are on Twitter that know. Oh, this doesn't sound to be too serious. It's a hamstring. The dude reached back, grabbed his hamstring, collapsed, and did not come back down. Now, even if you haven't dealt with a hamstring injury before, you've probably watched enough sports to realize that this is something that you might think it's better in 3 or 4 weeks, and then you start to give it a go, and then all of a sudden it tugs at you again. There is no rhyme or reason with the hamstring, and it has a tendency to keep guys out longer than people originally thought. So the good news is, at least if this is something serious, if this is like a true pull, the good news is he's got a few weeks where he can shut her down. The bad news is, don't take my word for it. Everybody on the Lions coaching staff is talking about how he needs to get his reps. He needs to catch up. He needs to get on the same page with the offense. And I think, in particular, in my humble opinion, with Jared Goff, I think he needs to get on the same page with Jared Goff. I think his strengths aren't Jared Goff's strengths, and Jared Goff's strengths are not his strengths. So the more reps that you get, the more opportunity you get to work together, then you can get on the same page. So to just dismiss this is moronic. But Ryan, I don't want to say bust mode. I'm not anywhere near bust mode. I'm not at really worried mode yet.
I'm at slightly concerned mode.
Okay. I can't blame you. I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Mode, because I think this too has been this training camp feels like it's the training camp of Jameson Williams, right? I mean, he didn't get any work in camp last year. He's hurt. Everybody knew that. Didn't play much last year at all. And he's suspended, so he's got to be away from the team for, I think it's a month before he can start coming back and at least practicing with the team leading up to being able to play in week 7. I think he gets to come back to the building in week 3 or week 4 of that 6-week suspension. And if he can't practice, he's only got a week and a half left to practice before he's got to hit the road. And if you've got a hamstring injury and you miss that week and a half of reps, I think that every rep that Jameson Williams takes is an important rep.
Absolutely.
And every rep that he takes against, other teams specifically, whether it was last week against the Giants or this week against the Jags, because joint practices started today. Today and tomorrow, the Jags are here. There's a walkthrough on Friday, and then the game at 1 o'clock on Saturday. If he can't participate tomorrow in practice, if he can't participate in that game on Saturday, if he can't participate next week in the game, I am slightly concerned about where this thing is going.
Do you know what it brings back to my mind? And I hate to beat a dead horse, but Ryan, you're a perfect guy to talk to about this. The nonsensical suspension that he took that could have been so avoidable. Mm-hmm. I mean, for the benefit of people out there, okay? So in Allen Park, there is the Lions locker room. There is about a 50-foot walk to where they park their cars. Would you say about a 50-foot walk?
Not even, yeah.
Probably a 50-foot walk. There is probably a 200-yard drive to be off the facility. Turn around the corner, you're not on the facility, and bet to your heart's content.
Well,
at that point
think
in time.
This was on the road in a hotel, but it's a team hotel.
Absolutely, but like that to me, that's the bigger point to me. Walk away. Go walk a few feet this way. Go walk a few feet that way. When I hear people making excuses about this stuff, it drives me nuts. Like Sean Payton. We have failed these guys. Clearly the message hasn't gotten through. No, it's not that difficult. Right. Don't overthink this. I'm just using the facility as an example of how easy that is. Go that way. Go walk out on the street, whatever the case may be. And that's the kind of stuff that infuriates me. And unfortunately, now with something like this, you get to the point where you say, man, it'd be great if he had that extra time. You know,
Right.
if he had that extra time. And unfortunately, that becomes an issue. I am not worried. Let me clarify this. I am not worried about the Jameson Williams stuff off the field. He made a stupid mistake, okay? He did. We've been there, done that. Learn from your mistake. Don't let it happen again. But it just compounds the issues for somebody that was already behind. He was already behind just by the basic fact that he had that significant knee injury that he did.
Again, the hamstring today, there is no telling when you get that back.
Can't.
That is such an individualized situation, too, for a guy that relies on his speed. And Jameson Williams, his speed is his most... his biggest weapon, for lack of a better way to say it, his speed. And if you got a hamstring, you can't run, man.
I always said, when we were doing the fantasy show, whether it be on the radio or at Fox 2, I always said, when you got a guy, Ryan Ermanni out 4 to 6 weeks, he's due back week 8, right? You know what you do in week 8? You're part of you's going, oh, outstanding. My WR1 is back. Ryan Ermanni. You know what I told people all the time? Don't start him that first week. You don't know. Like, even at that point in time, it could feel good. How many times have we seen a hammy flare up and it ends up keeping a guy out, for a few more weeks? And I don't want to say it's as significant as going back to square one, but sometimes it is. And I always tell people, maybe you don't start him this week. They're going to try to ease him in, or God forbid he gets hurt again. Let's see what happens this first week. If he makes it through the first week, chances are he's going to make it through the second week. I don't want to go down that routine, man. I just don't.
Yeah, don't want to speculate on the severity of the injury, other than to say when you pull up and you drop and you've got a hamstring injury, those things don't heal overnight. And he's running out of time now as far as training camp goes, in which he can actually participate. The next 2 games, every rep matters when it comes to Jameson Williams. And again, if he's out, it's just going to be just one more notch in the Jameson Williams not being able to participate saga. Guys, we're going to take a break. I do believe we have Ryan Edwards on the line. Oh, yeah, Braylon going to join us from NYC. We'll talk to Bray next, but first a message from Fairway Packing Company. For over 60 years, Fairway Packing has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods. Grab-and-go steaks. Order online. Fairwaypacking.com. Fairwaypacking.com. Source, cut, aged, packed to perfection.
How about that rookie? He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. Because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network. You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media. We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Hey, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the program. Ryan Ermanni, Sean Baligan in for Braylon today because Braylon is in New York. A little bit of a Jets alumni day out there in training camp. And by the miracle of the internet, Ryan Edwards is joining us now. Yeah, baby, there he is. Ryan Edwards, baby. Oh, yeah, I got you. I hear you. I see you. How you doing, Bray? Oh, he can't hear me.
Oh.
He can't hear me. Oh, man.
Well, we'll try it again.
Yeah, we'll try it again.
That's got to be cool.
Isn't that cool,
That was
man?
a fun team. They were. I always had fun with it around here because if you remember, people back then were saying Sanchez is better than Stafford. Remember that whole terrible bit? There was some of that going around, but they were a team that I remember watching with envy because they found a way to win games and they went deep. Obviously, they didn't go all the way, but isn't that what we wanted for our Lions? Just come on, win a playoff game, win a couple. That's all we wanted. That's all we wanted.
And it feels like the Jets, the Jets back then, especially, they came out of nowhere in 2009. And then, that following year leading up to 2010, everybody was gunning for them. And they ultimately got back to the AFC Championship in 2010. Sadly for our guys' sake, they dropped both those games. But we'll see if we can track Braylon down in just a couple of minutes. Sean, I wanted to get to something else with you. When it comes to the Detroit Lions, this is something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. So ESPN puts out a list of 14 teams, 14 Super Bowl contenders, and I never thought I would see the Lions on that list, but they are on that list. And what ESPN did was they took a look at the biggest weakness that all of these 14 teams have. And let me just read for you what the write-up was for the Lions when it comes to their biggest weakness, biggest flaw, the secondary. It's awfully hard to win a lot of games with a bad secondary. The Lions went 9-8 last season with a pass defense that ranked dead last in the NFL in QBR allowed. To contextualize how difficult that is to post a winning record when a team can't stop the pass in the modern NFL, consider that no other squad that finished in the bottom 5 of QBR rankings in 19, 20, 21, or 22 was able to match Detroit's feat. The average record for those teams, even with the Lions in the mix, was right around 5-12. The table stakes for being a playoff team is having a passable secondary. So let me just say that one more time. For you to be as bad as the Detroit Lions were last year in the secondary, putting all of those analytics, all of those numbers into a jar, the average win-loss record for a team as bad defensively as the Lions were last year, 5-12. And I think that the Lions were 9-8. And I think when you have something like that, it gives me such hope for this year. That is something real. That is something tangible that you can point to and say, if you're 9-8 being that bad defensively, what the hell are you going to be with Kirby Joseph in year 2, Aiden Hutchinson in year 2, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Tracy Walker back, Emmanuel Mosley, Cam Sutton? How good can you be with a completely revamped secondary and a guy that's going to get to the quarterback?
Ryan, on it, and for the benefit of people out there, we didn't talk about this ahead of time. And if you watch a show that I did the other day, Ryan, you are singing the same song that I was singing with Lindsey Hunter the other day. When you take a look at, number one, what you have coming back in another year of experience, and then you add the 3 players that they added. For me personally, I think a lot of people are barking up the wrong tree. Do you know what I want to see? I want to see that run defense not get torched. That's what I want to see. Because you didn't add 3 pieces to help bolster that. This is just something personal to me. Forget about what happened earlier in the season. Late in the year, what happened to them that Sunday afternoon, Christmas Eve afternoon against Carolina, sticks in my head, okay? Do I think that a rookie is going to help them on that run defense? I do, but Brad Holmes did what every general manager should do. He took out his magnifying glass and said, this is where we need help. And he went and got help. And the run defense needed help as well. They didn't get as much help. So, Ryan, to me, I think that is a massive step up. And going out and getting players that you mentioned, I mean, we'll wait and see what happens with Mosley, but CJ, GJ, and going and getting Sutton, that has been addressed. I'm going to have to believe it when I see it with the run game. But look, Ryan, again, old guy alert. The only time I can remember hype like this going into the season was the 92 season, after 91 itself. And if you remember game 1 in Chicago, they're winning the whole game, and then some guy named Jim Harbaugh, I wonder what happened to him, some bum quarterback. Jim Harbaugh throws a touchdown on the last play of the game to Tom Waddle, and you sat there going, oh no, is it happening again? Is it happening again? And it did. They went 5-11. So I don't think that that's going to happen under any circumstance. I really don't. I totally am buying into this team. But that doesn't mean there aren't some things that we have to worry about. I just, like you said, I just don't think that the pass secondary is one of them so much. And maybe shame on me, but when you go out and get the caliber of players that they got to come in and replace what was already here, I think that takes care of it itself. I really do.
And you mentioned that secondary, and for me, it starts with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. This guy has just completely brought a different attitude to this defense. Even a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, after practice today, talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson and his impact on this defense.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's certainly a personality. He's one of a kind, man. But I'm glad he's on my team. I mean, even today, he shows why we brought him here, man. He's a hard hitter, man, and he's willing to come down and bring the juice. And when practice might be a little lackadaisical, he's going to come up and make a play and get the boys going.
Part of these guys and their attitudes towards playing football too, just they're rah-rah guys. C.J. Gardner-Johnson got in somebody's face today. I think it was. Do we have Braylon back? All right, let me pull up Braylon while we got him here. Bray baby.
What's the word, brother?
Baby.
There he is.
Yes.
How
you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling in the Sky Lounge. Brian Masalam's actually right over there. He and I were talking about what we saw in practice. So just hanging out in the Sky Lounge, chilling, man. What's up, Sean Baligan?
How you doing, Braylon? Been a long time. How you been, bud?
I've been good, man. I can't complain, man, especially watching these Jets. It was hot out there, man. I'm looking in the screen. I'm black as hell right now.
Hey, Bray, talk to me about what went on out there. Who did you see? Who were you hanging out with? Just your experience there watching the Jets.
It's crazy. I didn't even know it was going to be a alumni kind of reunion practice like this. Mark Sanchez was out there. Maz would have been in heaven. Klecko was out there. Bill Cowher was out there. He even played for the Jets. Got a chance to see some of my former teammates. Mark Sanchez, he and I, we hit it up like we never missed a day. And I just got a chance to really Baker Mayfield was out there. I had no idea they were playing against Tampa today in practice. So Maz would love that one. Baker looked like Baker Mayfield, but a lot of fun. It was a lot of excitement around them. The fans came out and supported. It looked different, man. It looked like the show.
What about Aaron Rodgers? What's going on with him out there, Braylon? So much focus has been on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets this offseason. Does it feel differently out there with him at quarterback?
Yeah, it does feel different. I had a chance to talk to him after they did 707 Skelly, which he just lit it up with Garrett Wilson. I'll get to Garrett Wilson in a minute. But Aaron, man, he's dialed in. He's leading the charge. He's leading the drills. He and the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, those guys are like this. Those guys are mesh. They let Aaron run the show, and he's not letting anybody down. From everybody from the 61st man to the first man on the roster. Like, Aaron knows these guys by heart. He's talking to everybody. He's coaching. You see Zach Wilson, have a mistake or have a bad play. Talk to Aaron, come back, correct that. So Aaron is doing everything they want him to do. I mean, they signed him up to be a leader as well as a guy that can mentor Zach for the future and get this team back. And he looks every bit of the part. Gave me a big hug. I wasn't expecting it. So class of 2005, still strong. it was good to talk to him. He feels like we see it on TV. It's not a front. What you see on Hard Knocks or what you see in the papers or in the media when he's at the podium, Aaron Rodgers is dialed in to the New York Post, man, and it's fun to watch.
Braylon, I got to ask you about the offensive line. There have been so many questions about the offensive line. I'm sure you heard them while you're out there. People are really terrified at the prospect of protecting Aaron. Did you see anything of concern? I think sometimes people make too big of a deal about stuff like this in the exhibition. What did you see out there?
Sean, they're not making too big deal about it. It is a serious deal. You're talking about a quarterback, Aaron, who's going to be really good this year, but at the same time, Sean, he's 39. He'll be 40 in December of this year. He can't move like he used to. So if anything breaks down, Dwayne Brown is a damn good offensive lineman, but he's one. Elijah Vera Tucker is injured, and Mekhi Becton. You just don't know what's going to happen with him as the season goes on. So they are stacked to the T everywhere. But at that offensive line position, I am in belief they got to get one more guy before the season starts, because as much as they're deep at the running back position. You got Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, they're deep at the wide receiver position, as you saw in that photo that I sent in. The offensive line. The offensive line is the question mark, and if anybody goes down, it can go from a season where you're talking about being in the AFC Championship, trying to get to the Super Bowl, to all of a sudden you don't make the playoffs.
Hey, Bray, there's word going around social media anyway about David Bakhtiari, Aaron Rodgers, a Green Bay Packers teammate, is one of his favorite offensive linemen of all time. The reason he took that pay cut of $35 million was to give the Jets some maneuverability to get a guy like Bakhtiari. You think that would help them tremendously?
Well, that $35 million definitely was to get a couple players, and one of them I actually saw at practice today. Dalvin Cook did sign his contract, and he came out to practice. He didn't practice, but he was there. Got a chance to talk to him and meet him. Great dude, great young guy, and it's going to be interesting watching him and Breece Hall. But that was part of the deal, Ryan. Here's $35 million. Get me a tackle, get me another weapon so we can make it happen. The only thing about David Bakhtiari is you've already fleeced Green Bay 3, 4, 5, 6 times over. I can't see Green Bay giving the Jets and Aaron Rodgers David Bakhtiari. I just can't see it. You got a better shot at Zach Martin.
Braylon, talk a minute about those two teams. Ryan and I were discussing before you came on. The 2009-2010 Jets were fun teams. You know, you had a new coach coming in. Obviously, you moved from Cleveland. For the benefit of people out there that don't remember, nobody expected jack crap from you guys, and you ended up in the AFC Championship 2 years in a row. What was that experience like?
It was interesting, man. You know, I was in Cleveland. We were 0-4, and I get traded to the Jets who were 3-1. So it was like overnight I was on a playoff team. But once again, Sean, you're right. It was still the New York Jets that hadn't amounted to a hill of beans. So, you know, we stubbed our toe in the middle. Like, once I got there, I think we lost 2 in a row. I was like, oh, shoot, is it on me? But we fought, we scrapped, we clawed, and we snuck in the playoffs with, 4 out of the last 5 wins and, got in the playoffs. And once a scrappy team gets in the playoff, Ryan said this a lot last year, if the Lions would have gotten that playoff, nobody in the NFC wanted to see them because they caught fire at the right time, and that's kind of how we were in 2009. We caught fire at the end of the season, and we were scrappy. Nobody wanted to play us. We go out to Cincinnati, we beat them. We go out to San Diego, now LA, we beat them. They didn't see it, and, we were beating the Colts at halftime. In 2010, we kind of came in, hard knocks. People knew who we were. People saw what we did last year. Kind of less sneaking up on people like the Lions this year. So you want to see that. And, we could have won the division. We didn't. We gave it to the Patriots, but we got it back in the playoffs.
Bray, you wore number 17 there for the Jets. There's another guy that wears 17 over there, pretty good right now, Garrett Wilson. Did you get a chance to talk to him? What was going on there?
So I finally got a chance to talk to him. Last year when I went to the game, the Detroit Lions game, actually, we had a brief moment on the sideline, but it was a quick handshake. How you doing? Good luck. Congratulations. We actually had a chance to talk after practice. And as an old guy, Ryan, you want to hope the young guys know who you are. You want the young guys, you want some respect there, but you don't know. You get insecure, I guess. And when I went up to him, man, he gave me a big hug. He was like, yo, the real 17 is in the building. I was like,
respect.
Great kid, but I forgot, he's an Ohio kid, so he was growing up. Cleveland Browns, 16 touchdowns, so it was a lot of love, it was a lot of respect.
Oh, that's great. Look at that photo.
look at that, man. You got some players now. You got Randall Cobb, you got E. Decker, Quincy Anua. You got some tight end on the right, and then you got Garrett Wilson. But the thing about these kids in this era, man, and you're seeing it more with the Detroit Lions. They have a lot of young teams. The New York Jets have a lot of young players on it. These kids they work, they're humble, they're grinders. Like, this is the perfect era to transition out of the Baker Mayfield type kids and guys like that. These guys are not about me. They're selfless, just like the Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs and Brian Branch and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Panay Sewell and what they're doing. Very selfless team guys. You're seeing it with the New York Jets as well.
What about Sauce Gardner?
Sauce is sauce, man. I mean, you're talking about. So I got a chance. It's funny because I'm watching the offense because I want to see 17. I want to see Allen Lazard. I want to see what 8 is going to do and how he's commanding the presence and how people are responding to him. But I couldn't help but glancing to the right and eventually walking to the right and watching number 1 go against 13, and that would be Sauce Gardner versus Mike Evans. Got a chance to talk to Mike Evans, and I asked him. I said, what was it like going against Sauce Gardner? Young guy coming to this league. He said, B, he's a stud. He said he's our height. He said he's our speed. He said he's fast as me. I don't know about you, but he's fast as I am. He said he's as strong, but he's always on par. The one thing I gave Darrelle Revis so much respect about, you look at a guy like Richard Sherman or Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis was always patient. Darrelle Revis was always in control. Darrelle Revis was always in control of his actions, his emotions, all that. He was a very disciplined player, and I think that's what you get out of Sauce Gardner, a very disciplined player. You don't play 4 years of college football and not give up a touchdown. I don't care what school you go to. You do not play 4 years of college football and not give up a touchdown defensive back position. And you saw why he didn't last year as he was All-Pro in year 1.
It's insane. So much talk about the players' coach here, and obviously Coach Campbell changing the culture around here. Did you get a chance? I don't know if he was out there. Rex Ryan, that was a guy from afar. It seemed like he was a player's coach. You guys loved him. Was he there? And, talk about the impact it had on the team.
Yeah, Rex wasn't there, but, his impact is still felt throughout. We kind of started the Jets coming back. Rex was the guy that can get you fired up, get you motivated. He did those things. He knew how to let his coaches coach. He knew how to let his coordinators coordinate. But when it was time for Rex to step in and get that emotion flowing, it was time for him to come in and say something, time for him to calm people down, he did. And I think Robert Saleh is great at that as well. I was listening. I was talking to, who was I talking to? I was talking to Mark Sanchez, and he said he had a conversation with Robert Saleh after the speech. Everybody saw it on Hard Knocks when he went off on the team. A lot of F-bombs talking about how bad that offensive line was. And the thing about it is, he's not a rah-rah guy. Like, you saw him in San Fran, he's running up and down the sideline with the defensive, but that's different when you're a defensive coordinator versus a head coach. He doesn't yell at guys a lot. He's not the rah-rah. But when he says something, when he comes at you, you have to respect it because he doesn't talk a lot. And I think that's the thing that a lot of Jets were saying. Hey, look, he doesn't come at us like that often. So when he speaks, it's like that father that doesn't have to yell at you. It's like that father that just gives you that look, and you're like, or when he says something finally, like CP, my stepfather, when he finally said something, I knew I was in trouble. So people listen to Robert Saleh. It seems like he's got the pulse of the team, kind of like Dan Campbell in Detroit.
Hey, Bray, was it worth the 4-hour delay out there in the
Every time I go out of town, I get stuck on these delays when I'm doing the show with you guys. It happened to Philly and it happened to DC as well. I got stuck in the airport yesterday. Some bad rain was coming out of the northeast Connecticut, so I was stuck in DTW 4 hours, landed, and then we had to wait for Eric Decker's plane to land. So yeah, I didn't get to the hotel till 12, and I ended up falling asleep right away and got up early this morning.
Oh man, unbelievable. Well, good stuff, Bray. We miss you today. Thanks for hopping on with us, man. It's so exciting. Like this stuff is stuff that you dream about as a kid, playing professional sports, and then here you are doing it.
So cool.
How crazy is this? You look at the Detroit Lions, you look at the New York Jets, they're very mirror images to a certain extent. The only difference is our problem is the interior defensive line, but I don't think their offensive line problem. But outside of that, it's similar teams, similar goals, and similar situations. Both head coaches in the same year. They're strong in some of the same places. So it's going to be interesting to watch how these kind of two teams parallel themselves this year and watch how they do. I mean, who knows? I could be cheering for two teams in the Super Bowl, man. The Jets and the Lions, go figure.
Wouldn't that be something? We can dream. Good stuff, Bray. Safe travels back, man. We'll see you tomorrow. All
Be
right?
good, Bray.
I'll see you tomorrow, Sean. Man, good talking to you, buddy.
Yeah,
You
pleasure.
got it.
Ryan,
Bray,
I'll see you soon, buddy.
yeah, baby. You know what
All right,
time it
partners,
is.
JB.
You know what time it is, Bray.
You know what time it is. All right, fellas.
Be good,
All
Bray.
right, we'll see ya.
You know what? Can I say one thing?
Sure.
What he said, it like, Ryan, I think we've known each other for a long time. My dad was a police officer. My dad was a police officer father. Do you know when he absolutely disassembled me? Is when, I kid you not, it was the worst thing he ever did. And before he passed away from cancer a couple of years ago, we had a funny conversation about it. I never had a curfew. Never. He never gave me a curfew. And my senior year, I came back at about 4:30 in the morning. My senior year in high school. And I thought I snuck in the room. Everything was cool. And then all of a sudden, I heard him get up. And I'm like, okay, I'm already in the tuck and roll, getting ready to protect myself. You know what he did? Honest to God, I'll never forget this. He walked to the door. He opened the door. And he stood in the doorway. So all I saw was his silhouette. And he said, I thought you were smarter than that. And then there was dead silence. And I'm laying in bed going, okay, the haymakers aren't coming. What's going on here? And he goes, I never gave you a curfew because I thought you were smarter than that. And shut the door. And I'm like, kick me, hit me.
Oh, it's the worst.
Put a grenade in me. That was the worst feeling ever. So when Braylon gave that analogy, I think a lot of us out there probably had the same feeling I did. It was like, nah, I'd rather you just take a stick and beat me with it. You know, don't say anything but that.
I'd rather you be mad at me than disappointed in me.
Yes. Scream, call me a moron, you're dumb, or anything. Don't do that. So I think we all know that look out there.
Unbelievable. That's incredible. Guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more Lions, more NFL. But first, a message from Mark White.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty? That is exactly what Mark White & Associates offers. It's called the Minute-by-Minute Listing Agreement by Mark White & Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. That number again, 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Hey gang, let me tell you about Outdoor Equipment Company. Your childhood may be over, but playtime is not. Outdoor Equipment Company is your source for outdoor power equipment. And a great commercial with Darren McCarty too, by the way. Sales, service, parts, carrying top brands such as Bad Boy, LS Tractor, Steel, and more. They service the Great Lakes region with locations in Metro Detroit and Greater Lansing. For more, visit OutdoorEquipCo.com. OutdoorEquipCo.com, your power equipment playground. Hey, Sean, but before we get back to the Lions, I do want your take. I want your expertise. I saw this news yesterday, and I was just so darn happy. The Red Wings acquired Jeff Petrie. You know, look, anybody that's been around Detroit media knows that Dan Petrie, the 1984 World Series champion of the Detroit Tigers, is one of the greatest human beings you will ever know in your life.
Wonderful.
Period.
Wonderful.
Dan Petrie.
He really is.
Who now works with Bally Sports. His son, Matt, is the head coach of the Orchard Lake St. Mary baseball team, one of the powerhouses in the state, in the country when it comes to baseball. His other son, Jeff, is a National Hockey League player and it's been in the league for 10 plus years. Jeff Petrie.
He's been I'm not going to sit there and call him an all-star. He has been the type of guy that every team wants. And I watched him a couple of years ago when the Canadians made that crazy run to the Stanley Cup Finals. Jeff Petrie was such an integral part of that team. It was incredible. To me, Ryan, you check a bunch of boxes off here. Right-handed defenseman, check. Veteran in the room, check. Upgrade at the position, check. It's just a smart move. I think it's one of those moves that it worked out for both teams. And I think Hughes in Montreal even made a point. He said the Montreal Gazette today, he said, listen, this is a guy that really wanted to go home. And, we enjoyed him during some of his prime years. And you know what? I'm glad that we could make this work. And we kind of like Lindstrom. We'll see what happens with him. It wasn't happening for him here, Gustav Lindstrom. I know as recent as a year ago, some people still had him on their top prospect lists around here. I don't think he's that type of player. That doesn't mean there isn't a place for him in the National Hockey League, but I think more as a 4-5. Petrie still has game left. He's going to be 36 in December, so he's a little long in the tooth, but I think he still has game left. This is a move that makes the Detroit Red Wings better, which is, to me, anytime you can say, we just became a better team, you won that deal.
13 years in the National Hockey League, 12 of them playing in Canada with Edmonton and Montreal. And obviously, if you know anything about Sean, you know he's a huge Habs fan. And he spent a good chunk of his career in Montreal.
His family, it's interesting. I hope I'm not giving out any dirty secrets that Dan is mad at me, but I think it's kind of common knowledge. His family really loved Montreal. They legitimately didn't want to leave, but during the COVID pandemic, it was very, very, very difficult in Quebec. If we thought that there were some restrictions here, it was very difficult in Quebec. So my understanding is his wife wanted to go, and when they're back here and going to school, obviously, Jeff wants to be near his family and everything. So he went to Pittsburgh, got traded back to Montreal. Montreal, promptly traded him here to Detroit. I know it's not popular to say this, but I wish Darren McCarty was here because he'd get my back. This is, I'm going to say it again, Steve Yzerman hasn't even been here 5 years. This was going to be a 5-year plan. Does this put the Detroit Red Wings in the playoff this year? Makes them better, but I'm not sure. I don't know if they're playoff ready yet. With that being said, I still fully trust the Yzer plan. This was going to be 5 years. He took over April 19th, 2019. To me, you start to look where the Red Wings are at a year from now. Honestly, a year from now, if you're still trying to scratch and claw and get yourself into the playoffs, then maybe we have to worry a little bit about it. I don't think we're there yet. I don't. And you got to, this division is so damn good now. Boston isn't going anywhere, even with some of the losses they've had. Toronto may be better. Tampa isn't going anywhere. We saw how good Buffalo was last year. They just missed the playoffs. We really saw how Ottawa was on the cusp of things, especially with that home-and-home late in the series against Detroit. So it's going to be difficult when you play in a position like this. And Montreal's going to be better. They're probably a year behind Detroit in regards to the rebuild, but they're going to be better. So playoff team, I'm not so sure yet this year, Ryan.
Look, hockey is not and has never been my forte at all. But I would tell you that, and maybe I could be totally off base by this. You could tell me I'm a buffoon and an idiot for saying this, but it feels like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and you have not gotten that true, just number one grade A talent superstar. You got a lot of guys that can be star players, but who's the guy that's going to be that superstar that kind of leads this whole thing? I feel like that Connor McDavid. Now Connor McDavid is like generational.
Yeah.
But that's Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, Connor McDavid, Patrick Kane type players.
I think that most
they didn't get that guy.
I think that most Sider can be that guy. Defensemen are different and they develop differently, and a lot of times you kind of see an up and then take a step back. I tend to agree. As good as Lucas Raymond is, and I like Lucas Raymond, is he a superstar? I don't think so. The one difference, and I hear so many people compare Steve Yzerman's tenure at Tampa and his tenure in Detroit. Do you know what Steve Yzerman was blessed? And I bet Steve would be the first person to tell you this. He was blessed to walk into a situation that had a young Victor Hedman and a young Steven Stamkos. He didn't have anything like that here in Detroit. There wasn't that next up-and-coming player. And I used to say this all the time, and people used to get so mad at me. I like Dylan Larkin. I'm happy that Dylan Larkin is a Red Wing. I take Dylan Larkin on any team. Dylan Larkin isn't that guy, though. That's not his game, and that's not a disrespect. I think people used to take that as a shot. Like, why are you bagging on Larkin? And hear me out. Dylan Larkin's a heck of a player. I'm glad he's here. But to your point, that undoubted, no doubt about it, 1C. That guy, that first line, no question about it, borderline superstar. So it was easier when you can walk into a situation like Tampa where you have, in two important positions, an incredible scorer in Steven Stamkos and, in my opinion, a generational defenseman in Victor Hedman. He didn't have those there. So he was already starting a little bit beforehand. So when I hear comparisons to what he did at Tampa, give him a little time because they had the head start with two players like that already in the fold. Sorry to geek out on you. You asked, dude. I love it. I think
this is tremendous because look, we're looking for a team to get it going here, right? I mean, how much losing can the city do? Right? I mean, when you just look collectively at Detroit sports as a whole, I mean, you're looking for a team, but you're also looking for players to lift these teams up. I mean, whether it's Cade Cunningham with the Pistons, whether it's Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, another bomb. Tigers now up 6-4.
Isn't that amazing?
Actually, on the Twins. But at least you can see that, a guy like Cade Cunningham is out there, and maybe he is that guy. Maybe for all the shots that we were taking at Spencer Torkelson over the last couple of years, maybe we are seeing that he can be that guy. When I look at the Detroit Red Wings, I'm like, who is that guy? I mean, is Lucas Raymond the Sergei Fedorov, the Steve Yzerman, or is he like a Chris Draper that you're asking to be the first center?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I'm going to say I think the world of Mo Sider. I really do. And there are a couple guys still in the system that, I know, to your point, what I hated the most about the Al Avila era, and I gave up on that 4 years ago. I was like, if you people can't see there's nothing there, I can't help you out. The problem is you have to go with word of mouth, and a lot of times, you don't get a chance to see this guy. As you know, I've been very fortunate. I've done a lot of junior broadcasts before. I've done a lot of college broadcasts. So some of these guys I've been able to see, and they're exciting. But you can't sell somebody on something that you can't see with your own eyes.
Right.
I remember years ago, you and I used to have conversations about the whole recruiting stuff, and my point always was, how can I get excited over that which I can't see? And I take a look, and Jim Harbaugh is one of my exhibit A's. Like, honestly, these recruiting classes aren't jaw-dropping top 5 classes. He's getting it done with his type of players. He's getting it done with guys that, might be 4 stars and turning them into 5 stars. And I got all the respect in the world like that. So for me, I could never get excited over that which I didn't see with my own eyes. And I think, unfortunately, in the world of hockey, unless you are a nerd, and I say that with a tip of the cap, or a guy that's been able to, fortunately for me, do, broadcasts in the OHL and broadcasts in college all the way up to the NHL, you don't get an opportunity, Ryan, to see these guys. It's hard to get excited over. You can tell me until you're blue in the face, Michigan blue in the face. Oh my gosh, wait until you see this guy. Until I see it, I'm just not going to have that excitement.
I'm with you, big guy. Hey, by the way, Riley Green has a homer. Kerry Carpenter just hit a homer, and Spencer Torkelson just hit 2 homers. I mean, those 3 guys. I
love Riley Green. I
love Kerry Carpenter.
Point blank. I think Riley Green is just. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to be a stud or anything. You are talking about a rock solid player that you have no problem building around.
Can't wait. Guys, lots more to get to, but first a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale, a trusted name for over 55 years. Les Stanford Buick GMC. Same great service that customers have come to know. Go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. And, of course, looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn, where they have been for over 55 years, right there on Michigan Avenue. You can find the brand you want under one umbrella, LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com. Find new roads.
And after you find new roads, why don't you pull up to Planet Fitness with that new car from Les Stanford? That's because Planet Fitness is a great time to join Planet Fitness and beat low E. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym with tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes in a 30-minute circuit, and all memberships include fitness training. No matter where you are, there is a Planet Fitness close by with more than 50 convenient locations around the Metro Detroit area and thousands more throughout the world. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness, or as always, check them out online at planetfitness.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports. Detroit's winning sports network. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit. But we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
how would you like to see famous athletes like Jim Harbaugh, Darren McCarty, and Braylon Edwards play golf with average Joes? Well, thanks to Randy Wise Automotive and Woodward Sports, you will be able to do just that. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Make the wise choice and pay attention to Woodward Sports for more information.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Sean Baligan in the house.
Yeah.
Braylon in New York, headed back from Jets Alumni Day training camp. Tom Mazaway will be back tomorrow as well. Sad chair. Very sad. It's always sad when Maz is not here. Oh, man. But there's Alyssa back there. Shout out to Alyssa. Hey, everybody. Way to go. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the difference maker, in my opinion, here for the Lions. Got into a little skirmish today. Got up there talking some junk with his good friend, Calvin Ridley. Apparently, these two were playing 7-on-7s way back in high school. Here's C.J. Gardner-Johnson at the podium after practice and had a little visit from Calvin Ridley.
Oh, man, Cal, go back 7-on-7 high school. There you go. 7-on-7. We go back. He's a good player, man, but he just talked too damn much. But he's a good ass player, man. I'm glad he's back. One of the best receivers in the game. Appreciate you, my boy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All respect on what I said. We go back to Florida, so there's no animosity. Always competition with my foot players right now. I'm happy he's back. It just uplifts everybody's game with how player that power.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Calvin really talking about a little bit of a skirmish that they had during 7-on-7 today. C.J. Gardner-Johnson got up after a pass breakup talking junk in his face, and there was some pushing and shoving going on. No harm, no foul. Calvin Ridley afterwards, he talks too much. But then, you've got that aspect of it. Then today, there was a fight between Max Crosby of the Raiders and Cam Akers of the Rams. Punches were thrown. Akers had to go inside after the fight. The Jets and Bucks had a fight today. The Commanders and Ravens had a fight today. These joint practices are great, but they get hot, man.
It is. These guys are tired of hitting each other. They are. They want to go hit somebody else. Ryan, I was out at camp last week, and that's all those guys were saying. Do you know how great it was for them to get on the field and not look across from, your boy and look across at some guy wearing that giant blue and going, I might put his teeth through the back of his head. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they want to do. They're tired of hitting one another. And I'm going to say this. Isn't it amazing what camp and what the exhibition slate has happened just in our lifetime, where there were 4 games and you saw the starters in multiple games and sometimes multiple series. You're just not going to see it. There's a chance you might not see some of the starters at all. Like around the National Football, I don't know, Flannel's boy, Mahomes. Right. Flannel loves him some Mahomes. Hey, Patrick, we want you to start this game this weekend.
He did play a series last week, though. I couldn't imagine. I don't know why. Look.
Well, I'm pretty sure he requested.
He did. But that's why you have an owner and a head coach too. I mean, Kelsey played. Mahomes played.
No.
Now, if you are Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, maybe I can understand it. First-year coach, guy trying to maybe work out a couple of things I can get. Maybe they didn't even have a joint practice. But other than I can understand the rookies like a C.J. Stroud and a Bryce Young and everything like that. But some of these guys like Patrick Mahomes, I just don't even know what you're thinking.
No, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I think, to be honest with you, Ryan, it's gotten bad in the last few years. I think it's only going to get worse. We're in an era where there's so much money involved, so much investment involved, not just for the individual, but for the teams as well. Mm-hmm. You think I want to give I will never forget. You remember poor James Stewart? Poor James Stewart of the Detroit Lions. James, you're going to play one series. You are going to play one series in our last game against the Buffalo Bills.
Remember that?
He played one series, got one carry, and it ended his gosh damn career. Like, how devastating.
Dude, I remember
devastating.
that. Unbelievable. I forgot about James Stewart.
He's a guy that came up. He's a guy that came up with "It is what it is." That was his line.
Really?
True story. Yeah, They had lost the year before against the Jets, and it was funny. He was looking for something to say, and he goes, "Man, I don't know. Around here, it is what it is." And I was like, "That says it all for a Detroit Lion fan." That says it all. I mean, he gets it. He's a Lion. But that's the type of thing. I mean, your heart breaks. And if you remember, I'll never forget going in afterwards. It was like a morgue because all those guys knew this is a guy who's at the end of his career anyway, maybe a year more, maybe 2 at most. You blow out your knee at that age, it's over. Never had another carry in the National Football League. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that.
And, you know, and nobody really wants to see these preseason games. They do serve a purpose, I believe, for those guys like a Dylan Drummond who's fighting to chase Coda
100%.
For maybe the last wide receiver spot. Now Denzel Mims hasn't practiced in 2 weeks. So I don't know why we think he's automatically got a spot. But either way, when you've got a Chase Coda or a Dylan Drummond working for a spot, when you're a veteran like a Julian Okwara trying to fight for a roster spot, I do think it's important,
no question,
for the games to be played and for you to have an opportunity under the lights to see what you got with a second row of seats on top of the stadium there.
The reality is, and I know people don't like to talk about this, coaches probably know 50 of the guys that are already going to make up their team. But there are a few spots available. There are. You know what I mean? The reality is there are a few spots available. Can I throw in one added addition? And I don't know if you did this. I always tell young parents out there, if you are looking to take your young son or daughter, whatever the case may be, to a Lions game, a great way to do it is take them to one of the exhibition games first. And I don't know if you did it with your kids. Yeah, I like for me, because you guys know, I mean, when you're walking into Ford Field with a little kid with 60,000 fans in there and the noise, it can be a little intimidating. So it was almost like, for me, it was like, I'm going to do the warm-up. We're going to go into Ford Field where they're not going to be 60,000 fans in there. They're not going to know the difference, but at least they're a little acclimated to it. And it's funny because both my kids said the same thing. They were like, Dad, that was really cool. Like, we got to go to the exhibition game to see what it was like. And I was like, yeah, but then it kind of blew your mind the first game that you go to a real game. Although I still can't believe that crowd last week. I cannot believe that.
The Giants went on a silent count in the preseason. I mean, it just goes to show you, too, where this fan base is. Just completely starved. Just completely starved for a winner, that even to the point where, you show up 48,000, 50,000, whatever actually was there. But then the noise level of it, can't wait. I'm looking forward to going on Saturday and seeing it. Now, I did make a mistake. I took my kid to SummerSlam. Big mistake on my part. I mean, it was fine.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah,
I didn't.
It was fine. We lasted 2 matches. Just completely overwhelmed.
It's just too much.
Too much. I mean, with all the pyrotechnics, too much.
You know, it's funny. I took my son.
Overall, we had a great night.
Yeah.
But
you know, my son, Jack, is a huge baseball fan, but he loves college football as well. His first experience at Michigan Stadium was the same way. He was too young.
Right.
You know, I think our earnestness to share this with our kids, I think he was 4. Do you remember the Northwestern game where it rained and rained and it snowed and then rained again and then snowed again and rained again? You added all up, the crowd, everything. It was like he wanted out at halftime. He just wanted out. And, you're soaking wet anyway, so we bolted. But, yeah, it's the mistake that parents make.
And back then, when I was a kid, you walk into Michigan Stadium and you were literally on the top.
The
top row.
Yep.
So you just walk down.
Yeah.
Now you got to look up a little bit, perhaps. But great stuff, man. One more break, back to wrap it up. But first, a message from, that's it already, almost. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk into any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically enter for your chance to win not one but 2 vehicles of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, one for you, your wife, your girlfriend, your best bud, whoever you want to give it to. Maybe you want to give it to Sean Baligan. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer at Academy Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Houghton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
How would you, yes you, how would you like to win a $100,000 Vegas getaway?
I want to win it.
I'm in.
I mean, I'd love to win it, but unfortunately I'm not eligible. Take your closest friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps.
Never sleeps.
It's
Ever.
the Cintron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win that $100,000 Vegas getaway at drinkcintron.com/Vegas and buy Cintron at your local Meijer. Cintron, the healthier energy drink that tastes great with a choice of people who desire to look good, feel great, and be the best versions of themselves. The website to enter is drinkcintron.com/Vegas. That website again, drinkcintron.com/Vegas.
You dope like Braylon.
Yep.
Can I say something to you?
Please.
As you were doing that read, we were just talking about kids that get overwhelmed, right? I am like a kid who gets overwhelmed every time I go to Vegas.
Me too.
It's too much.
Never been.
I don't. Take care, everybody. Have yourself a great afternoon. It's great to see you. No, like Ryan, it is great that first day, and I like to go sit in the sports book, and I'll put down like a bunch of college football bets and everything, and by the second day, I want out. Like it's not for everybody. Like Vegas isn't for everybody.
It's a 3-day trip max.
Yeah, and I'm not joking. Every time I've gone, so like my buddies will go, dude, let's plan a Vegas trip, and I'm like, you guys, I don't want to ruin your vibe because the second day, like I want to go home. Like it's enough. And like I mean, no disrespect to it. If you give me a day trip, it'll be the greatest trip I ever have.
I have done the 20-hour day trip to Vegas.
Have you really? But Ryan, I'm not joking. For me personally, when I get into the second day, there's just too much going on, and it's like, you know what? I just want to go home. Like it's weird. I mean, we were talking about little kids coming out of the break, and that was the first thing that popped up. You guys would hate going with me because I'd be like, guys, I'm just going to stay in the room. You're in Vegas. What the hell's wrong with you? I've had too much. It blows your mind, man.
You see any shows there? No, I didn't come to Vegas to go to no shows. Oh man, what a great thing. Sean and I were talking during one of the breaks, guys. So yesterday was the greatest day in the history of weather for us. I mean, it was because I look outside today, and it's like 79 and sunny with no humidity and a breeze, and it looks great. I would take 63, cloudy, and a little bit of rain over today any day of the week.
Every day of the week. I'm serious. Like, and it was funny. My son and I was like, Okay, honestly, it's like October 4th right now. Can we go to some college game? You know, maybe Mac's playing on a Wednesday out at Ryan Ermanni, or we can drive down to the Glass Bowl. It was totally that day. But, Ryan, for us, and you know the routine, everybody's got their favorite cider mill around town. I think a lot of times it depends on where you grew up. You know, for me, being from the mean streets of Livonia, it was always Parmenter's out in Northville, and now we live really close to there. We live in Northville. It's so right that the first day our cider mill opens is college football week 0.
Unbelievable.
There's just something so right about that. And I hope to God it's like the weather that it was yesterday, man. Give me that 63 degrees and a little rain coming down. I love every second
And
of
there's
it.
going to be no cider mills on Sundays this year, Sean.
No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. That was always, that was always my escape. It was like, I am not going to let the Lions ruin my Sunday, so I would tell the kids, come on, we're going to the cider mill.
Right.
Come on, Dad's not going to get in a pissy mood today. It's not going to happen today. So that was always my escape, my refuge, if you will. I don't see any cider mill Sundays coming up this year, man. I just don't.
Only maybe the bye. Maybe the bye week.
Yeah, that's
even then you're going to be want to watch something. Good stuff. Hey, Sean, before we get out of here, well, I guess we'll talk on Friday. I was going to ask you for a little. We're talking on Friday, too.
I'll see you guys on Friday.
I was going to have you give me a quick Michigan State thought.
I can give you one anyway. What really helped me out yesterday, I don't know if you saw what the Big said. Donardo was out there, and he said it was his 10th trip that he made, and he felt like nobody had improved from last season to this season like Michigan State. Because I think I can speak for a lot of Spartan fans right now. We're kind of in that, we should get back to a bowl game, right? Mode right now, 7, maybe 8 wins. I've had some people up there tell me that their defense is going to surprise somebody, and I'll tell you the same thing that I told both of them. That is an absolute, you're going to have to prove it to me with as poor as that defense looked at times last year. I'm going to have to see that with my own 2 eyes before I buy any of that. But it was nice to hear Donardo say, and again, not making any bombastic proclamations, it was nice to hear him say that they might be the most improved team in the conference this year. So we'll see what that turns into.
Shawnee B, love you, bud. We'll see you on Friday.
Look forward to it.
With us as well. Braylon and Maz back tomorrow, guys. Thanks so much. JB, Parker, you the man, baby. You both are. Very much love you guys so much. And love you. Hit the like button. Subscribe to woodwardsports.com on YouTube. We will see you tomorrow night.